Consciousness has nothing to do with the brain. Initially, they're like two separate entities. Brain does not recognize consciousness, simply because it is operated by consciousness. It is before brain. Brain, like all other body components, are separate to consciousness. They seemingly appear to be secondary to it. But it's just that the brain and the body are a different quality, but not consciousness in its purest state. You see, the computer, it cannot know anything until it has been switched on. For any information to be offered to the computer, primarily it has to be switched on. Once on, the computer can decide when, whenever, or whether it accepts the information, or simply whether to shut itself down, denying everything that comes until it receives the information it already knows, and therefore to measure this newness against its own knowing. Consciousness is always evolving by itself. There is no doer. It is spewing birth within itself, newness every moment. The brain, however, needs time to investigate and accepts this newness. So when the computer brain is switched on and consciousness makes an attempt to overcome it, it decides, the brain, can I take this? If the brain chooses to stay alert, stay focused, and witness, it may overcome its own limited entity. If it chooses to ignore consciousness, it will not benefit from this possible evolving. But it will recognize that it is a limited entity. And it has never known that before, you see. The brain thinks it's capable of anything. It therefore recognizes the potential of consciousness, greatly outnumbering the capabilities of itself. If the brain is wise, it shuts itself down long enough for consciousness to pass through the whole of it, including the body it operates, so that consciousness can carry on freely with the journey. Consciousness is not interested in where it goes. Nothing will stop it, you see. Consciousness will pass in its own time, and the brain will be silent and in awe of what it is. When consciousness departs, the brain can recommence with its limited ways. but it has now been rejuvenated because its master has offered its presence. The brain, it then tries even harder to self-heal its body, knowing it has a lot to live up to. The brain and its processor, the mind, has been recognized as worthy by consciousness when consciousness passed through, expressing its gratitude for trusting and continuing with operating the body for consciousness's own pleasure. The brain and mind and body never doubt anything again. They never live in fear of the not knowing. Consciousness is before all forms and formlessness. But the witness of it, what is the witness of consciousness when it has revealed itself? Is it the brain? Is it the mind? Or is the witness consciousness itself, echoing through the body as it passes, echoing through the brain and the mind? I am not the body and mind. I am not what body and mind thought it was. It was. The question is, can the brain see it through its organs like eyes and ears, etc.? I mean, can the brain train itself to understand these words and experience consciousness by beckoning it? Can it practice? Can it meditate? Can it do anything to experience this total consciousness? The answer is not until the brain accepts that for once it has to be the listener and learner, the non-controller, rather than the I know everything, always, and nothing new can evolve outside of me. This is why consciousness makes its presence always in the back door, inside and through me.